So I want to take a look at this clip from ESPN earlier today on Get Up. They were breaking down the Packers versus 49ers game, and then they gave some overall thoughts on the Packers and Jordan Love. So I want to show this short clip, and then I will give my thoughts on what they have to say here. And here we have Mike Greenberg, Rex Ryan, Damian Woody, and Teddy Bruschi.
A lot of people to ask the question, as the Packers now feel like they're going in this direction, do we have a 2-team race? Do we have a 3-team race? Do we have a 4-team race in the NFC? Because I bring up Jordan Love this morning, and who do you bring up?
I bring up the Niners and how bad they were.
No, but when I said, do we believe in them, I was going to say, do you believe in Jordan Love? And you were going to tell me there's another quarterback you're starting to believe in that could make things dangerous.
I believe more Sam Darnold.
More in Sam Darnold than you do in Jordan Love.
Based on what I saw yesterday, Jordan Love wasn't tested. I mean, this is a San Francisco 49er front that had an entire different defensive line. The defensive didn't tackle at all. I mean, it was nothing for the Packers to win this game. They did what they should have done. Sam Darnold was in pressure situations the entire time. The Chicago played him tight, and that's when I wanted to see Sam Darnold.
So we got to figure out, is it Green Bay or is it Minnesota that's going to wind up being the real threat? We're going to get to Darnold coming up in a few minutes. But, Rex, you have been voicing to me concerns about Jordan Love all season long. Right. Could you put them into song?
Yes, I could. You got to know when to hold them. Know when to fold them.
Okay, stop there. So we don't have the rights to. But that's the thing. He doesn't know when to hold them and when to fold them.
And you see it time and time again. Even in this game, there was 3 or 4 times in this game that he presented some opportunity. Here's one right here. But watch this throw. Now, that's not reckless? Yes, it is. And so you keep seeing this pattern over and over. Look, the guy have an incredible skill set. He's got a skill set that he could be one of the best quarterbacks in this league. However, he's also got this reckless side of him, and I think that's why I don't put him in the top 2, with Detroit, with Philadelphia. Do they belong there? If this kid's not turning the ball over, absolutely.
What do you think?
Okay, so we'll stop there for a second. I don't think you can argue with the fact that Jordan Love has put the ball in harm's way too often. There's no doubt about that. Jordan Love himself has talked about it, how it's something that he's been focusing on to try to limit the turnovers and not put the ball into harm's way more than he needs to. And he did finish yesterday in the game against the Niners with 0 interceptions. He did have 2 turnover-worthy plays per PFF. One of those was dropped, which Rex Ryan brought up. But sometimes the way that Jordan Love is talked about here, it sounds as if, he's the most reckless quarterback in the NFL. And I really do not think that's the case. He is up there in interceptions. But as I've talked about before, when you look at, turnover-worthy plays, I think that's more of an indicator of, the accuracy level of these quarterbacks. In the long run, I do think the interceptions are a pretty good indicator of, which quarterbacks do put the ball in harm's way more than most. But currently, if you look at Jalen Hurts, he has 1 more turnover-worthy play than Jordan Love and 6 fewer interceptions. Josh Allen has the same number of turnover-worthy plays and 6 fewer interceptions. And I talked about it either this past week or the week before, that Jordan Love has been pretty unlucky when it comes to pretty much all of his turnover. Sorry, my phone went off there. But I have talked about in the past week or two that Jordan Love has been very unlucky when it comes to pretty much every single ball that has been a potential turnover-worthy play. Like, let's say, guy is in a position to make the interception. They've made it pretty much every single time. And finally, this week, we saw that number start to even out a little bit with them dropping the interception. And that happens with lots of quarterbacks. And Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen they have played in more games because Jordan Love has been injured. But that sort of just shows you that it's not like he's head and shoulder above all these other quarterbacks. Some of these other guys have gotten lucky more often than not, whereas Jordan Love, for majority of the season, all of his picks or all of his turnover-worthy plays have been picked until this past game. And so I think that is one reason we've seen a super high interception number for Jordan Love. And I shared this number last week, but I'll update it now with this past week's games. When we look at turnover-worthy play percentage, so what percentage of plays from quarterbacks do they have a turnover-worthy ball? Jordan Love is pretty high in the NFL, currently among quarterbacks with at least 50 attempts. He is the 11th highest turnover-worthy play rate at 4%. Sam Darnold and Kirk Cousins are slightly worse, so they have a higher turnover-worthy play percentage than Love at 4.1%, so just barely ahead of Jordan Love. And so Jordan Love does need to clean this up. Do I think it's the end of the world and he's, the most reckless quarterback in the NFL? No. There's 10 other quarterbacks in the league who have put the ball in harm's way more often than Jordan Love. There's no doubt it's an area he needs to clean up, and hopefully we see him continue to do that. But I don't think it's the end of the world. Now, when it comes to a big moment in the playoffs and you need to win the game, you need Love to not make a bad play. Is it possible in those moments that he could potentially, put the ball in harm's way and lose a game? Yes. But I also think that we need to consistently bring up the insane plays that Jordan Love has. And even that one play dropped by Christian Watson yesterday, he should have had another, 40, 50 yards. That touchdown should have been. Add that touchdown as well. And Jordan Love's game would look that much better from a ball that had been dropped by Christian Watson. And I haven't looked at the stat recently, but in the past couple of weeks, Jordan Love had been up there highest, if not close to highest amount of drops from his receivers in the NFL. And I would expect that it's still pretty high up there. So it's not all in Jordan Love. He does need to be better, but I don't think he's as reckless he's not the most reckless quarterback in the NFL.
Jordan Love has been a confounding person for me to talk about on all our shows this season because he obviously has such gifts. I mean, the talent just jumps off the screen, but the decision-making every once in a while is so questionable.
He has some Favre in his game. He really does. He has some Favre in his game. Mm-hmm. He gunslinger. It's almost like these quarterbacks that have, arrogance about their arm talent, where he'll just force the issue when you should not, force the issue in those situations. Green Bay, if you look at their team, they absolutely should be right there with the Detroit Lions and the Philadelphia Eagles. But when you got a quarterback that puts the ball in harm's way, that to me, I can't put them in that same category because you can't turn the ball over.
I can put them in that same category for 1 week. I mean, can Jordan Love get hot 1 week and beat the Detroit Lions? I mean, in one round in the playoffs for one game? Absolutely. I don't know if they can consecutively do it to go where they want to go in terms of getting all the way. But Jordan Love getting hot, McKinney on defense, if they continue to get those turnovers, this team can beat anyone. I just don't know how consistent they can be.
Yeah, that's fair. Now,
he makes some good points there, and I think if we look at last playoffs, one thing that did hurt the Packers in that game was Jordan Love throwing a couple interceptions, one big interception on the final drive. And so it really does come down to how consistent can he be. It's not all on the quarterback. A big part of it is on the quarterback. And I think it also comes down to, can the Packers defense come playoff time consistently force interceptions? Because if they can do that, like they did against the Niners yesterday, forcing 3 turnovers, 1 interception, and 2 fumbles, then Jordan Love can get away with being a little riskier. It's those games, though, where the defense doesn't force a turnover, where then if you have Love playing too reckless, then in those games, that could be what ends up, hurting the Packers. So it's not all in Love, but it is partly the defense as well in those situations. And when we look at the Packers' losses this year, I mean, the loss to the Vikings, Love had just come back from his injury. He was hobbling around out there, and the Packers only lost 31-29. So I do think the Packers can beat any team in the NFL. They did it last year, beat the Lions, beat the Chiefs in, November, December. They played a pretty close game to the Niners. So I think it does come down to for the Packers and every other team in the NFL is, can you play your best football consistently when playoffs come? If you do, then, if you play the most consistent football of any team in the league, then you're going to probably win the Super Bowl. So it does come down to that, and hopefully the Packers can get to that spot.
Now, I can say this, Brew, if we're in a defensive meeting room and we're getting ready to play Jordan Love, aren't we sitting back going, hey, guys, he's going to give us opportunities.
All we got to do?
We just got to catch it.
We got to catch it.
You're going to get opportunities.
Yeah.
And it's almost every single game.
On the other side, Teddy, you described yesterday.
That is true, and I think we're so used to, at least as Packers fans, when Aaron Rodgers was here, he so rarely puts the ball in harm's way. And so we've gotten used to seeing that, and there's no doubt that Jordan Love is much riskier than Aaron Rodgers. He makes a lot more risky type throws. And just to end it off, there's no doubt he needs to try to play cleaner football, but he's so talented. He has such a big arm. He can do some crazy things that most NFL quarterbacks, can't really do. And so, to this day, I'd still take Jordan Love over Jared Goff, Sam Darnold. I just think that in the long run, he's a better quarterback. He's going to have more success in his 10 to 15 year career, I think, than Jared Goff and Sam Darnold will. So those are my thoughts. If you want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys next time.